So if you guys have not seen the previous part of it, then go first. Now look at that link. Class was going on and Lelouch, who is making a model there of which everyone was making a sketch, and then Nina asks Sarli, why are we not going to the myth class? She tells him, Prince Clovis had declared an art class this week, and an art museum has also been opened in the name of Prince Clovis, and Princess Ophi has been invited here to judge the best painting. Then we see OG, where Villetta had cooked a very nice meal for her because still her memory has not come back. There are members of the Black Knight. He comes and speaks. The elite group of the Japan Liberation Front has arrived, and the Liberation team tells the Black Knight that we encountered the Britannia Forsyth. During that time, Leader Todo got himself caught to save us, and he asked the Black Knight for help to save Todo from Britannia, and all this Ogi tells Lelouch. Then Lelouch speaks, we will help them, we will save Todo from Britannia, and tells Ugi to tell Longevity to prepare, and we see Sarli, who was going to go somewhere with her friend, but then her hair falls down again, and as soon as she goes to pick it up, she gets a letter which said that blue is 0. Then in the next scene, we see Cornelia, where would say to Guilford, that today Todo, the leader of the liberation of Japan, will be punished. Then Cornelia tells Guilford that Todo will be punished by that man and she will not be able to do this work because she is going to another country, and then UP comes there. So Cornelia says to him, Dayton will be with you. If you need any help, ask for it, and ask Cornelia UP. That you quickly choose your one knight. Then in the next scene we see the Japan Liberation team who were talking to each other. Will it be right to team up with the Black Knight? But then they decide to see what happens. We have to save our leader. Then in the next scene we see where the Black Knights are preparing to attack Britain. Who is a new member of Black Knight, and Zero also meets him, and Ragsata also gives him some suits, and when Kellen wears them, Ragsata tells that they will be a little heavy but they are very protected. Then in the next season, a guy from the Britannia army comes to Todo and tells him that the job of killing Todo has been given to Suzaku, and when Suzaku was very scared to know all this, and we are shown a flashback where Todo himself gave training to Suzaku. Just when he was gone, a Britannia comes to get Suzaku's autograph. Then they see that there is an explosion outside and the Japan Liberation team attacks them. Some of Britannia's nightmares try to stop them, but the Japan Liberation team also stops them. Seeing this, a British man quickly tries to kill Todo, but then there Kalen and Zero come and save Todo, and Zero says to Todo, you were the only one who fought Britannia before me. Will you come to my team? Todo tells him, I have not taken orders from anyone except Todo till date. Only then Zero tells him, you have to take responsibility. Responsibility is a miracle. Britain has caused a lot of pain to Japan. Japan wants to be free again. You need to save them all as soon as possible. Fight Todo, fight till your last breath and die, and only then Todo smiles and comes into Zero's team, and we see Japan Liberating Team and Black Knight's team. They were gonna finish the nightmare of Britannia together, and we see Todo also comes there, and the members of the Japan Liberation Team are very happy to see him, and Todo also sits in his nightmare and gives orders to his members that all Zeros talk like we have to walk with him, and we see Zero because he is saying in his mind, all the problems have been solved. Now I just have to create a world where Nunnally can live in peace, and then we will see. There Souza goes with his Lancelot, and we see the scene inside the museum where everyone knows that they have been attacked, and UP also knows this, and we see members of Japan Liberation and members of Black Knight attacking Lancelot from all sides. And that's when Todo Lance attacks the Loth and cuts off his upper part. Because of Jess comes out of Suzaku, and Lelouch is shocked to see that no one else was sitting in that nightmare, that he was still fighting Suzaku, and Lelouch is very shocked to see that he was going to kill his own friend, and Todo and Kellen were also shocked to see this. And Zero was not in a position to give an order at all, and then Todo also comes out of his nightmare, then asks Suzaku if you are really with all this, then says to Todo, are you disappointed? Then why don't you kill me? I just want to liberate Japan, and they both start fighting, and then Lelouch comes to his senses and orders everyone to stop, but everyone sees that more British soldiers attack there, then gives everyone orders that we have to leave here right now, and the Black Knight and the Japan Liberator team leave there, and we see UP who was watching all this, and Dayton was saying then he was fighting 7 people alone, but still those people are cowards, they ran away. And then she says to everyone that you all had to know who my knight would be. I choose Suzaku as my knight and everyone is sad to hear this. Then in the next scene we see Ogi and Kellen who escape from there. That's when Kellen notices that Zero hasn't come out of his nightmare yet, and that's when she hears that suddenly it could definitely happen. I start laughing. Then we see the scene of the next day where we see a submarine which belonged to Zero, and we find out that the Japan Labyrinth team has also met with the Black Knight. So Zero was giving new rank to all of them and he makes Deedhart in charge of publicity. But then a girl says she is not discriminating in Zero. This is a Britannia, it should not be given this rank, we don't believe it. And then Zero says, then what about me? As you all know, I'm not Japanese, I am also a Brit and I know Deadheart very well, so I trust him. After that, Zero makes Raktasata in charge of the entire technology system and he takes Kalon in his squad which will be under his direct command, and this is the personal squad of the hero, and we see there is also CC there. Brother, in the next video some guys were saying that call CC C2, so from now on I will call it C2. And then in the next listing we see where Ufi chooses Suzaku as her knight, and all this was being telecast on the news. No one was happy about it because Suzaku is still very young, and on top he is a Japanese, and everyone except the professor and Nunnally and Dalton are happy for him. And then we see the scene of Black Knight where they were talking about Suzaku, that he is the biggest thorn in our mission and we should finish him, and then they make a plan to catch Suzaku. Then we see the scene of Lelouch and C2 where C2 tells Lelouch that it's easy, you just have to use gas on Suzaku, but Lelouch refuses to do so and asks C2 why. Because he is your friend. Lelouch says he is above me, I am the same person on whom I am not using gas. Then in the next scene we see UP who was telling Cornelia that she has chosen her knight, that is Kurugi Suzaku, and Cornelia tells her you choose anyone, it's your decision. Then in the next scene we see the same mysterious place where the Maharaj says to a man let him do as he wants. And then the next scene we see the scene of the school where all the students were partying together in the joy of Suzaku becoming a knight, and we see that only then the professor comes to the school and he meets Nina, and he is sad to see that Nina is very expert in science. Then she goes to the party where Millie asks her, why are you here? Nina asks Millie, how do you know them? Then the professor tells everyone that I am his fiancé, and there were people who wanted to win after hearing this. Everyone is shocked and comes and says this guy is more beautiful than BTS and the professor is a noble. Knowing this, Revel is shocked, and only then Professor tells Suzaku that Suzaku, we have to go, an important guest is coming and to bring them. And Princess UP has to go too, and Lelouch is also listening to all these things. Then in the next scene we see where Princess UP and all the people start going to an island to pick up their guest, and we see the scene of Black Knight. Jisco also knew where Princess UP is going to go because Lelouch had listened to her words, and Black Knight make a plan that they suggest how to catch UP, and we see Princess UP and all the people come to the island, and then Black Knight attack in, and Kellen Sir Britannia nightmare was being given pale, in which the people of the liberation team also support him, and Lelouch was sitting in his nightmare watching this scene comfortably, and Inpi attack UC. Am upset to know this. And then UP tells Suzaku to show them your strength. By doing this, prove them all wrong, and we see here Black Knight was comfortably baiting the soldier of Britannia, but then Suzaku comes there and spoils his fun. But then Suzaku's eyes go to Zero, and Zero says, Suzaku, attack me. And we see the scene of the headquarters of Britannia where the second prince gives them some orders, and in the next scene we see where Zero puts Suzaku behind him and brings him into a pit, and we find out this was a plan of Zero to trap Suzaku, and at night the surface turns on one of its machines so that Suzaku's lance is shut down. He is not in a condition to walk, he gets jammed there. After that, Zero comes out of his nightmare and all the Black Knight members surround Suzaku from all sides, and Lancelos is jammed. The professor also knows this and he says, Prakshta, you have done it yourself. After that, Suzaku comes out of his nightmare and starts again from zero. It says, "Come on my team," but Suzaku refuses again and says, "I said it before and I'm still saying there's no point in winning the wrong way. This will not bring peace." Then Zero says to him, "I heard your father was the Prime Minister of Japan who wanted to bring peace but he died, and as far as I know he died," and starts saying to Zero again, "Britain will betray you, you should come with us, you will be safe." And then a guy from Britain headquarters connects to Suzaku and tells him, "Suzaku, you are on Jez Island right now, we are going to fire on him, and this order is from the second prince." Zero moving from there. Don't give. But Lelouch hears this and is sad that Britannia is going to blow up this island, and then Suza catches Lelouch and starts taking him to his nightmare, and Britannia really released missiles towards this island, which is the problem. Black Knight's people are afraid and they start flying by firing the missile in the air, and she was telling him to surrender, and then we see a big ship comes there and UF also comes there, seeing which UF speaks. This is the ship of elder brother Snejal, and only then Snejal starts firing at this island with it and blows up that island. And then we see in the next scene where Suzaku's eye opens on another island and there is no one around him, and there is also Zero on the other side of the same island, and they both don't know where they have come. After that, Suzaku goes to fetch water and finds a waterfall where Kale is bathing and is sad to see Suzaku, and as soon as she is about to talk to him, Kallen sees Suzaku and moves forward to attack him with her Black Knight dress, but Suzaku knocks him to the ground. Then Kallen tells him that he is the memory of the Black Knight. Then Suzaku speaks to him, "Then I am arresting you," and we see Zero who is thinking about how to cast the Black Knight. And then he sees that Ufi comes to him, and now Suzaku ties Kellen with a rope and starts interrogating him, and he asks him, "Who is Zero?" Kellen says, "You find out for yourself," and after listening to this, Suzaku realizes that even Kellen does not know Zero's true identity. Then Suzaku says, "Why you are following him?" and Kellen says, "You find out for yourself." On the other hand, Zero points the gun at Ufi, and only then Ufi says, "You are Lelouch. I haven't told anyone about it. I just have to see your face once." And Lelouch is shocked to hear this, and he takes off his mask, and seeing Lelouch, Ufi starts crying, and we see the scene of Sikkim Island again where Britain's army is suggested, and Ufi, she's looking for the girl, and they don't know where they both went, and we see the professor and Sinazal who got Lance Luth back, and they're both from Avalon. After that, Sinazal leaves with the professor because he has something to do with him. Then in the next scene, you feel Lelouch says to this, "When I saw you in Kawaguchi Tower, I understood that I was Leloucho, but I wasn't entirely sure, and I didn't tell Princess Cornelia about it because she never listens to me." Then she again asks Lelouch, "How is the drain?" Then Lelouch says she is fine and she is now living with me in the school campus. And Lelouch asks her, "Do you know who killed my mom on Jess?" She says Cornelia was investigating the matter, but she hasn't found anything yet. After that, Lelouch makes a trap in the forest so that some animals get trapped in it and they get something to eat, and Yuvi lets him work hard like that. She herself also goes to find some fruits, and on the other side we see Suzaku who is catching fish, and he says to Kallen that if you will also find food with me, then I will give you free. But Kelly refuses. Then he tells Suzabu, "The way you behave in school, you're not really the same. You are very stubborn." And we see the members of the Black Knight who survived that incident, and they also saved their Gorin nightmare, and there is also CC, and they all decide that they will find the Zeros quickly because they are incomplete without them. Then in the next scene we see Ufi and Lelouch, where Lelouch could not catch a single animal with his trap. Ufi brought some berries which he eats. After that they start watching stars, and Ufi remembers how Lelouch used to watch stars together with Nunnally and her mom. "Can't we live together like before? If we stay together, it will be very good." And Lelouch doesn't say anything about it. And on the other hand, Kaylin eats a lot of fish and relaxes. Then Suzaku says to this, "Then actually you are like that." Then Kaylin says, "Yes." Then Suzaku says, "You look weak in school, and yes, you are very energetic." And Kaylin starts to feel a little ashamed after hearing this. Then Suzaku says to leave Black Knight, but Kaylin refuses and says she is the pilot of Guring MK2's nightmare and she will beat Lance Luth. She says to Suzaku, "You Japanese have met with enemies even in your sleep. Your father Gehmukh Kurobi is ashamed to know this." And she says that if I don't fight, then my brother's life will go in vain. And then she tells Suzaku that I was the one who killed my father and says that my father is the same as O1. Zero feels that the world revolves around him and that's why he lets so many people's blood flow. Getting anything wrong is useless. It doesn't give good results. But then Callan says to him, then you tell me who will do justice to my brother's life? Who will decide? Is he right or wrong? And to hear all this, Suzanne is sad. After that, they all fall asleep. After that, we see Cynical come to this island and find a cave, which Cloves used for some of his works and decorated his lights. And Lelouch does sports, and as soon as morning comes, they both start moving towards that light, and we see that inside that cave there is a thought elevator which after seeing the professor says this is out of my reach, this is out of my understanding. Then Isnazal says that Maharaj Charles is interested in this, and Biadi tells that he attacks Britain or another country because of this, so that they can find another place. Then Sinazal shows the professor his nightmare, and we see Sinazal's nightmare very dangerous, that nightmare very advanced. Then in the next scene we see where Yuppie and Lelouch are moving forward, and then he sees Suzaku coming there and he wears his mask and hides in the bushes. But just like Yuppie, Suzaku sees she comes out and calls Suzaku, and then Zero comes out and pretends to gunpoint Yuvi and tells Yuvi to accompany me at this time, and he asks Suzaku to replace Callan and Yuvi, and Suzaku starts moving towards her, and then Callan opens his hands and grabs Suzaku from behind. Then Yuvi says, go ahead and value my life. Then Suza moves towards Ufi and towards Zero, and then a very big Gia symbol comes on the ground which was activated by the Gias of Lelouch, and we are shown a little boy who smiles and the ground below breaks, and they go and fall into the same cave where the Sinezal was, and as soon as he sees the soldier Zero of Britannia must go to catch him. They start to be afraid, but Kalen starts eating them, and then Zero goes to the nightmare of Senegal, and Kalen also quickly goes and sits in it, and Lelouch activates that nightmare, and only then he sees Senegal and sees him. Senegal also sees the hero and speaks, then this is Zero, and Zero launches that nightmare and leaves there. Nightmare blows away and Kaleni falls asleep watching. This nightmare can fly and Lelouch doesn't know what would happen. He starts laughing out loud and Batley says, Prince, he took your nightmare, but Sinisal says no matter, he was just a test subject. Yup and Suzaku are safe. This is the big thing, and only then UP meets Sinisal. But the bridge? Tinian arrests Suzaku. To break their rules, you can't do that by looking at it and talking like this. I told him I would look into the matter later. Let what is happening right now happen, and let's see. Lelouch contacts Ogi and they are both going back to their base, and then Lelouch says in his mind, Suzaku, forgive me, I'm on you. He did not want to use gas, and then we are shown a flashback where Snezil uses gas on Suzaku before attacking and orders him to live, and before being blasted he goes to the last sloth and escapes, and the Briton orders Suzaku, but Suzaku says stay calm, I have to live, and he doesn't obey his orders. And these recordings show the Briton Suzaku, and Suzaku doesn't believe that he said this, and Cornelia also finds out about all this. So Guilford comes to her and tells her that the bridge has been destroyed. They have attacked us. Is this the Chinese Federation? Have they declared war? That's when Guilford says, no, Mother M. They put up the Japanese flag, and in the next scene we see where Lelouch and Kalen reach the Black Knight, and now he is safe. But then he sees a news where a guy speaks, I will be liberating Japan, and this guy's name is Sabaski, and this is the leader of the group that has captured the base of Fuku, and this was the first. He was the head of his government, but after the war he ran away to China and has returned to Japan because of Zero's return, and he wants to meet Zero quickly, and the people of Black Knight were also watching this news, and Detard speaks, we have nothing to do with it. Kellen then speaks to Zero, what should we do next now? Then we see the scene of Avalon Sip where the professor is also. He watches the news, but then Cecil arrives and just asks, where is Prince Anisel? The professor says he is in the Tokyo settlement and we have to do some work to deal with the caffeine disturbers, and the caffeine disturbers is the thing that the Ash Sata made that caused the Lancelot to jam, and we see Suzaku, who was very depressed and looking at a watch. And we are shown in flashback of Suzaku saying to Yuppie, I can't be your knight. Yuppie says that if it is because of him that you did not obey the orders, then it does not matter. It's a natural thing and I keep doing it. Suzaku says it's not related. I took my father's life. I lived as if nothing had happened. Soldiers are dying and I can't save them, so what will I save you? You don't deserve to be a knight. When Yuppie also speaks, I don't do a knight reserve either. Then in the next scene we see where, because of the storm, Britain or Sawaski's army were not able to make a big attack, and we see Snysal, who is giving orders to Dalton, who is from another nation. Contact them to get support. Then Yuffie comes in and says, hey, can I help? I'm all viceroyals, but Sunizal refuses to do so. Only then does Dalton speak. Princess Cornelia had said that Yuffie should not be brought into this matter, and Yuffie thinks that Cornelia is angry with her because she chose Suzaku as her net, and Azel speaks to Dalton, I know a guy, I will ask him to help. And then we see the scene of the student council where we see a flashback where Sarli had found his letter which he had written for Lelouch, and in it he had written that Zero is Lelouch and his memories have just been erased. That is why he is confused about this letter. What does it mean? A system is installed that allows it to fly. Then Sushil asks Suzaku, why did you leave the position of knight? So Suzaku says that Yuppie is still supporting me even after all that has happened, and if I do something wrong again, she will hold herself responsible and blame herself. And we see Yuppie, who is in her museum and looking at her painting, and she was thinking in her mind how she is a burden on everyone. She wants to do something but she can't do anything and apologizes and for not being able to save Nunnally. And we see Sleep just comes to the same museum and the policeman stops him from going inside and says that there is a princess inside right now so he can't go. In the next scene, we are shown the Black Knight submarine in which Zero says that we are not all with Shabaski, he is just a puppet from China. Then a Black Knight guy asks him, what are you going to do? Zero says, I am going to liberate Tokyo. Only then the rest of the members tell him that we will not be able to do that. Britain is more powerful than us. If Zero speaks, then what about you? Just sitting here and waiting for another Britain or someone to default? Are you waiting for one day we will get the right chance? Don't be crazy. If we don't do something, that day will never come. And we see Yav leaving the museum. Only then Sleep comes in front of his car. Then seeing this, the police slam him on the ground and start arresting him. That's when Yuppie remembers. It is the same girl who was in the hotel, and she comes out and stops them and says that this is my friend. And we will see in the next scene where the storm stops and Britannia can now attack Sabasaki's army, and then Sabasaki launches missiles at Britannia's SIP. But Avalon's ship escapes by activating his shield. Now Sushil explains better plane to Suzaku, and Suzaku launches his last Loth and Sabasaki sees it and knows who it is. They launch missiles at him, but Suzaku evades them and destroys his helicopter as well, and he reaches his base. That's when Sabasaki video calls him and tells him, I didn't know. Prime Minister Kurugi Wheat was also a son. Yuffie and Nina are seen where Yuffie gave Nina some clothes to wear and Nina thanks Yuffie for saving her. Nina speaks again, I am a simple sea girl who does not look good. I'm useless. I'm not doing any work. I think I hate myself, but I do the same. After that, Yuffie walks up to Dalton and tells him that I have to make a video call, and then we watch it in the war scene where Sabasaki tells Suzaku, you are ruining your father's dream after supporting Britannia. Suzaku says that my father has nothing to do with this, and Sabasaki gets Suzaku involved in things, and then some nightmare destroys his gun, and his nightmare's Annie also starts to heat up, due to which its loading system gets destroyed and its floating system also gets spoiled. Then Sajak takes out his pig and starts killing all the nightmares. Only then does she video call him and give him commands. He always talks and talks to her. I will do the same in return. I like everything about you and you should not hate him. Then Suzaku also returns the same feeling after hearing this, and he tells Yuppie that I got a good life because of you and says thanks to him, and only then he sees that all the knights of Shabashki surround him from all sides. Then Suzaku makes a last request from Yuppie and says, don't tell my friend that I died and his... Don't blame yourself. Only then does she speak to him to live, and only then does a light beam come out, because it destroys all the nightmare of Sabasaki, and we see there comes the Gurin nightmare, in which C2 and Liu's are sitting. Gurin nightmare, then destroys all the nightmare with the hydro cannon which was invented by Raksata, and the professor is angry when he sees this, because Rajasthan has done it before. Then the hero offers Suzaku an energy filler and speaks to him, "I will defeat the commander," and speaks to him for backup, takes the energy filler to Suzaku and speaks, "I will do it for you." The two then work together to destroy Sawasaki's base. Seeing this, Sawasaki speaks to 00. "You should have been with us," Zero said. "I don't work for anybody. I don't work for those who work and speak for their means. I am working for Japan." And Suzaku also tells Sawasaki, "You were cowardly. You ran away to China in fear." The scene of the submarine of From Black Knight is seen where Kellen speaks, "I could have gone there to help him with Zero." Then Deethart tells her that she did not go to win, but that doing so would dispel the rumors everywhere that the Black Knight helped Britain. Whether this is true or not, people will think that Britain is with Japan, whether Britain releases this or not, and we see Sawasa trying to escape from there. But Lelouch and Suzaku catch him together, and as Deet Hodge had guessed, Britannia doesn't release all that Black Knight helped him, and so it happens. And here we see Sneazal who meets Keystrick, and we see in the next scene where Suzaku goes to Ufi and tells her to make her his nightmare. Then Ufi also welcomes him. "Yoba so paidi kao amwastain." And she makes Suzaku her knight again. Then we see the scene of the school where the annual festival is going on and all the students and all the other people have come here, and we see Ogi brings Villetta here too, and Villetta's memories have not come back yet, and we find out that all the members of the student council are going to make a very big pizza together. Then in the next scene, we see where Cynical is praising Cornelia's soldiers, and he tells Cornelia that he is going for a meeting at the Chinese Federation, and then she starts praising Cornelia about her combo ability, and Cornelia starts to feel a little embarrassed after hearing this. Then she says, "Where is UP?" Then Cynical says she has gone somewhere. Then the two start talking about a project that Batley is planning. Then in the next scene, we see Zehermi who is in an orange capsule. Then we see Yupi who comes to this school festival in disguise because she has to talk to Suzaku about something. Then we see a flashback where Yupi tells Sneasel one of her ideas. He tells her to follow your heart and says, "I will talk about Corneliasis," and only then she hits Nunnally while walking, and only then UP speaks Nunnally, and Nunnally speaks, "This voice, is this you?" Then we see in the next scene where Nunnally invites UP to her house and says, "Don't tell anyone that me and Lilu." Yes. And we see the preparation to become the world's largest pizza starts, and we see because the table says on the phone, "I will talk to you later," and is watching all this from the control room. Then she comes in and speaks how happy everyone is ever since we have lived with that Chinese Federation. Only then does she come with "You feel Nunnally." As soon as the value sees them, it takes them out of there. Then Revels removes a big curtain and a nightmare comes out from it, which Suzaku will control with the help of Poisy Nightmare. Suzaku is going to make a very big pizza, and we see Kalon who is surprised to see how many 11 shadows there are still talking to shadows. It is because of Suzaku, because he gives them a hope, and we see the professor also came here who is standing with Millie and watching all this. After that, Suzaku starts making pizza, and Lelouch and Ufi are sitting together watching all this. Only then, seeing all Lelouch and Ufi sitting together, she thinks that he is hitting on the girls here. As soon as Ufi is going to tell Lelouch a plan so that Nunnally and she can live happily together, but even before that, the wind blows loudly and Ufi's hat blows, and the bull recognizes Ufi and says, "Princess Ufi," and there are people who want to win, listen, and start running towards her as soon as they see Ufi because she is a princess, and isn't it, Lelouch? He leaves and Suzaku tries to stop the people. Because of this, the pizza slips from his hand and falls on a tree. You can see the forum. People suppress UV and Cecily, but only then Suzaku removes UV from there. But in the meantime, we find out that Psycho is working closely with Deet Hart. Then we see Lelouch and Nunnally who come to a shop of the festival. Then Nunnally tells Lelouch that Ufi and Sujav have come too close to each other, and we see that news people also come to Ufi, and after seeing them, Ufi makes an announcement and all the members of Black Knight are also watching. Ufi announces about the special administrative zone which is near the Mount Fuji area, and about this area she says that I will create an area where the Pay 11 will be openly called Japanese and all the basic human rights will be given and they will be able to live equally equally with the Britons, but no one is happy to hear this because it is not possible. Fufi says it can happen, Zero, it can happen if you help me. And after hearing all this, Cornel Orr gets angry and says, what are you saying? And many Japanese people become very happy to hear this, and Yuppie's relationship also gets exposed with Suzaku, and we see release that speaks, my plan to liberate Tokyo is no longer complete, it will be possible, and if I withdraw now then Black Knight will also end. And Yuppie is thinking in her mind, Lelouch, now we will be able to live together like before we return. And Liz, on the other hand, angrily says that if that happens, Black Knight is made of G's reason. That reason will end, Uffy. Why don't you understand when our past has died? All is over. Then in the next scene, we see where the final preparations are going on. The Britons of the Special Administrative Zone speak. Princess Yu, there have been many reports on this. The other guy says you're talking about these islands, right? He says that he has contacted Zero. Only then Dalton and Bantu are arrested, and both of them want to take advantage of the news and take out the Black Knight. Then we see in the next scene where Yuvi and Suzaku are in the stadium, where more than 200,000 people have come to participate in this program, and Suzaku and all these things are also shown in the news, and Nunnally and Sai are also watching all this. And we see Nina, she is in the storage room of the school where there is also a festival nightmare, and she says to herself, if this idea is Princess Yav, so that would be right. And we see Lelouch, who is very angry to know that he is the leader of the cute house. He also supports this idea. On the other hand, Naisel contacts Cornelia and speaks. She approved Yuppie's idea to end the Black Knight, and Cornelia disagrees, but it has to be done for public safety. Then Mazel speaks to her. You are a very good big sister. Then we see the scene in Kyuta House where someone approaches Kirihara's decision to me and says, this is insulting to their group, and then a guy asks Kirihara, are you going to benefit from this? But Kirihara refuses and tells me just opening. He is invited to a ceremony, and then the same girl from behind the window speaks what Zero and Black Knight have to say in this, and in the next scene we see Black Knight, where Tudu speaks. A lot of Japanese have joined this program. Daytart speaks because there is no risk in doing so, while Rak always speaks because the Japanese trust Princess Yuppie the most. Only then some members of Black Knight are talking that we have heard why whoever is supporting them is because Princess Yuppie wants to make everyone the same. Then we see a flashback that will happen, and Villetta has done her nautical work, and Villetta tells her that I also want to join this program. Only then will it happen. Speak to all the members of the Black Knight, support us. It should be done because it does not oppose Zero's plan. One member says if we support it, then we will have to lay down our arms, and the rest of the members feel the same. And in the next scene we see where Lelouch drops off at a place where Pa has called her to go shopping. That's when they see a Briton killing a Japanese little boy. Lelouch goes and stops him, then stops him at the same time, but Lelouch uses his gas on him and tells him to leave there, and he leaves there, and Lelouch uses gas on the other guy also. But then reverse comes in the middle, and Lelouch can't give him an order, but after a while that guy also leaves there, and the bull is watching all this and says to herself that Lelouch helped this girl because she is Zero. If so, this was talking to Princess Yuppie, and we see Dalton because Tira speaks to Hara that you should stop supporting the Black Knight. Anyway, they're going to lose. Then we see the scene of night where Lelouch comes to his house and he asks the drain whether Sally has come here or not, and tells the assistants to make tea. Then Nunnally asks her if you are upset and is it related to Yuppie, and says that I would like to meet him again. Lilith speaks you like her. No, Nanny speaks yes like you do, but Lilith speaks I used to make her. Now the next day open share money starts, and a lot of Japanese people come here, and the news people are talking whether Zero will come here or not. And we see Charles, who is watching this ceremony with the help of Thought Elevator, and as soon as the ceremony is about to start, Zero comes there with his green nightmare, and Yup is happy to see this. But the British had a different plan. He had kept a lot of soldiers here to kill Zero, and Kira says in his mind that if anyone knows his identity, then there will be trouble. After that, Zero meets Yuppie and asks him to talk to him alone, and Sushil finds it a bit disturbed. But the professor is okay for this, and all this is being shown on the news, then it is for the student. My mom is watching all this too. Zero is scanned that there is no weapon on him somewhere, but he does not have any weapons. But Suzaku doesn't think all this is okay, so he talks to go with her. But don't worry and trust me, and we see Lake Knight hiding in the nearby forest and waiting for Zero's order. There are, and break it seems that Zero will kill UV, and we see in the next scene where the camera breaks as soon as UV reaches the room. Only then Lelouch removes his mask and removes a plastic needle gun from him which could not be scanned, but UV tells him that you will not kill me, but he tells Zero that you will do the shooting work. And Suzaku waits outside, but only then does he have a vision of cracked wall, only then does he look in right, then he sees Chitu and going Nightmare, but no one else can see him. Chitu speaks, he can see me somewhere in the Battle of Naita, which I had contacted with it. Because of this, it did not happen, and now we are shown Zero, who speaks from UP. What if you kill me? Ufi says, people will come down on riots, says, yes, if that happens, all people will lose faith in you, and then if I recover, all people will see me as God. Ufi asks him, why would you do that? He speaks to Yujut, you are forcing us to do all this as he used to do, and then he gives her dirty, and only then suddenly something happens in her eye, and we see the outside scene where C to suggest something to her. She is going to ask that, then suddenly something starts happening in C2's eye, and she says that she has reached her limit, and then Sujab comes to C2 and puts his hand on his shoulder, which makes her illusion there. He starts talking and he sees the face of Lelouch's mom, Marianne, and then he faints. And seeing all this, there are Britons who are also there to win. They come to catch him, but they have the same situation. And we see Lelouch, and Lelouch is going to use gas in UV, but only then UV says that I have rejected my royal identity. I am not a princess and speak. I did all this for Nunnally, and Nunnally said that she only wants to be with her brother, so I made this program and I left the post of Princess Lelouch, who tells her you did this very selfish work. This was very easy to achieve, but now you may not be able to see Nelia further, and speaks. You haven't changed at all. After that, Ufil asks Lelouch to join him, then Nelis also accepts this, and the two shake hands. After that, the two started laughing. Then Yusi speaks to him, what did you think? If you threaten me, I will kill you. Nelis says if I said that, you would have to do this, then whether you wanted to or not, up. She speaks to him, don't talk crazy. Lelouch says, I am right. You have to do it as if I said kill all the Japanese, and as soon as Lelouch speaks, his gas gets activated at the same time, and what he said in jest becomes an order for UP. Only then UP says that I am all Japanese. I will kill. Then Lelouch speaks, my Gias, I became like Mao, I am not able to control my Gias. Then she picks up the gun and runs away from there, and we see this snazzle because Batley is talked about the Chinese Federation plan, and we know that these two together are also doing some experiments on Genmi. Batley then speaks to Snazzle that what to do with the elevator? Sinazal laughs and says that he will work on it, and we see UP who comes running towards the stadium and announces on the loudspeaker that as many Japanese are present here, all die, and hearing all this, as many Japanese are there, they are shocked, and UP gives orders to his soldiers that as many Japanese are here, kill them all. But then on the way, he sees Suzaku who is lying unconscious, and before he goes to stop UP, some soldiers come and catch him. Then UP kills a Japanese sitting there with his gun and sees this and tries to stop the Daltons, but she also shoots him and UP's fear is gone. Indian soldiers accept, and those soldiers are also Japanese to win there. They start killing them, and here a lot of blood gets spoiled, and UV also picks up a gun and starts killing everyone, and only then Suzaku comes to his senses and he sees the condition here, goes interested and tries to stop a British soldier, but he doesn't believe her, and Zero runs away. An old woman comes in front of him who grabs him and tells him, Zero, save us, and saying this, she dies. After that, Zero is looking for a way out. Then Dalna comes in front of him and tells him what you did with UP and is about to shoot him, but before that he falls, and then the ladder comes there, and Lelouch in Green Nightmare takes him from there and only then tells him that I can't control my gas, and we see Chaz who is laughing out loud, and we find out that he knows who Zero is, and UP is very nervous, and Cornelia also plans to go to UP quickly, and we see Suzaku who quickly He contacts the professor and Sushil, and we see the members of Kyoto who are preparing to leave here quickly. And then the little girl whose name is Kagoya, she says that we should help the Japanese except to escape from here. And we see Lelouch who contacts the Black Knight and tells them that Ufi heard this, so that he can take out all the Japanese and kill them all. And on the other hand, the suggestion also comes into his Lancelot. Then Lelouch orders all the Black Knights to kill all the British soldiers and cries that also killed the third princess of Britannia, you see. And then the Black Knights, going on Lelouch's orders, attack the army of Britannia. And we see Ufi is also sitting in a nightmare and is killing all the Japanese, and then comes in front of Kalenos with her nightmare and is about to kill him. Only then there, Lelouch chewing Goen nightmare and Goen using the nightmare's hand to cut off Ufi's nightmare, from which Ufi comes out, but she is still not stopping. She is saying he wants to kill all the Japanese. She was going crazy to kill the Japanese. Then Lelouch wears his mask and comes out of his nightmare, and he goes to Yuppie and kills him with a gun. And then Suzaku also sees that Zero has killed Yuppie, and seeing this, Suzaku gets angry and moves towards him to kill Zero. And then see in the middle, with the help of Lancelot, Suzaku takes Ufi from there to Avalon Ship and goes to the professor and says to save Ufi. And we see that Corneli is just coming and tells Guilfordy that the army of Britannia has been attacked by the Black Knight. It seems that they had planned all this, and we see Sir Japanese were against the Britons, and we see Ditas who was showing all the clips of UP live by editing, and we see Zero escape from there and he meets the members of the Q2 house. That's when the little girl talks to him. Finally we met. Only then Lelouch sees that girl and speaks, I remember well. This is the relative of Suzaku, and only then the path of lust. He says that considering the current situation, if you have to live, then follow my orders. Instead, you have no way. And we look at Yuppie, whose condition is very bad right now. Then Suzaku asks Yuppie why you gave that order. So Yuffie speaks, which order are you talking about? We were at the ceremony, and Suzaku falls asleep after hearing that Yuppie, don't forget. And we see Zero, where all the Japanese had become his fans. All were cheering him, and Zero says, we Japanese will show all the Britons what we are. And we see Yuppie asking Suzaku if all the Japanese are happy, and we see all the Japanese who are saying Yuppie should die. He is a liar, he has no right to live, and Zero Most was saying, yes, you were right, he should die, and all the Japanese were also supporting him in this. And on the other hand, Suzaku tells Ufi that all the Japanese are happy, they are still in the special zone. Then Ufi says, then I am happy, and saying this, Ufi kills himself and Susu. She starts crying loudly, and Cornelia also gets this news, and she breaks down, and everyone outside is shouting the name of Zero, then Zero Stadium. At the same time, he goes to meet C2 in a room and tells C2 that now I can't control my gas. This means I have to stay the farthest away, and we find out that the power of gas C2 work. Then Lelouch gets a call from Nani, and she says to him, can you talk to me from UP? He said he would call me today, but he didn't. Then Lelouch asks her, Nunnally, have you not heard the news today? Then Nunnally says that the radio suddenly stopped or something happened. Then Lelouch says, no, everything is fine. And tells him, I will talk later, I will come home tomorrow morning. And only then we see Lelouch sitting there crying because he loved Yuppie. Then C2 comes up to him and hugs him and tells him, I will always be with you. And in the next scene, Guilford finds out that the information that Diethard had leaked was the reason for everything. And a lot of people are joining the Black Knight, and they are moving towards the Tokyo settlement. Guilford's subordinate tells him that we should send in the army, but he refuses, that he will not do anything without Cornelia's order. And we see Cornelia, who is in Ufi's room and is shocked by Ufi's death, leaves. And because of this, Lena also goes crazy, and Black Knight is engaged in moving forward, and many people are joining him, and the members of the student council are worried. Then in the next scene, we see Seats, who was talking to someone alone. Now Ogi is talking to Valletta, and Valletta is watching these riots from the apartment. And even then, the door of Leda's house is broken, and some Japanese come in who accuse him of being a spy. Then we see the scene of Asphalt Academy, where something happens in Sarli's mind, and Nina on the other side. She was advancing to her nightmare in the storage room and speaking. I will avenge Princess Yusi, and in the next decision, Sajak is near Yusi's body and says in his mind, why did you give that order? But then someone comes and says, I can tell you. Suzaku looks back and there is a little boy. Tell Suzaku, who are you? He says, you can call me. Now the Black Knight has destroyed the defenses of Britannia, but then Cornelius comes there and orders Glabstone Nightmare. Gives to kill Zero, and we see Zero, who was planning to kill Cornelia, and he makes D-Tart in charge of Zero Bridge, and he goes out to go to Weddlefield with Situ. Then she comes to Kaguya and says, how can you even think of going to Weddlefield without me? I'm a huge fan of yours. I tell you all about YouTube. How did you get here if you left? So she says, I left them and came here so that I could see my future husband fighting. Yes, she says future husband, and she says, yes, as soon as you win, I will marry you. After that, he leaves with Etu. Then in the next season, we see Batley, which was in a very hurry. That's when the tube breaks and Jeremy stands up and says, good morning. Then in the next scene, Zero gives Britain until 12 p.m. to surrender. Dalton, on the other hand, is in his nightmare and is going to help Cornelia even after being injured. Then Lelouch gets Yuvi's call and he picks it up. Then Sajak is on the call. And he asks Lelouch, if you are in this school. Lelouch says, I am not there yet, but I will reach soon. Suzaku says to Lelouch, tell everyone not to look in the sky today. And he says to Lelouch that today I am going to kill someone. Whoever comes in my way, I will also kill him, and says thank you to Lelouch for being his friend. Zero keeps the call, and there are also bombs to win in the Tokyo settlement as soon as 12 o'clock. They explode, killing many of Cornelia's soldiers and destroying many of Tokyo's buildings. Seeing this, Cornelia is shocked and Zero speaks. Sajaku, you want to kill Zero, so I won't back down either. If my feelings also came in the middle, I will exhale. Then we look at JNU, which shows that the Bible and Sinzil have experimented on it and modified it together. But the experiment has not been completed yet. Because of G's, his mind is not right, and we see Todo in the battlefield. Then Cornel comes in front of him and attacks Cornelia as soon as he sees Cornelia. But then Cornelia brings one of his soldiers and Todo cuts him in the middle, and there goes Guilford and tells Cornelia to leave there because now she will fight Todo herself. Zero then announces that S-Word Academy will be his command center and orders Ogi to go there. Ogi then calls Villetta, but she doesn't pick up the call. And then we see that Villetta killed all those people who entered her house, and she starts leaving there. Now Suzaku comes to pick up Lancelot on Avalon's, but the professor says, you can't go fight right now. We haven't received any orders yet. Then Suzaku punches and takes the key of Lancelot from him, and we see Guilford and Todo who fight. Then Gladstone Nightmare arrives, who tells him that here we will handle. You go and help Cornelia, and we see C2 and Zero who were destroying the Air Force. Then he calls Zero and tells him that a person can help us. His name is Psycho. Then in the next scene we see First Prince ODC, the one who is upset with all these things and speaks Chaz, is not here either. Sneasel thinks he must have gone to the thought elevator. Now the DC is wondering what to do. Then Snizzle says, why don't you send me there? And in the next scene we see where members of the Black Knight take over the broadcast station to show a live event, and we see in the school Zero and Kellen arrive, and Zero tells the student council member that this will be our command center. We will not do anything to anyone, and all this is a house to save the Lilui symbol drain. Rebels tells her, we don't trust you. Only then does Kellen show her face in front of everyone and say what has been said. They do that, and everyone is shocked to see that Kellen is a member of the Black Knight. Then he comes to Ugg and tells Zero that Suzaku has arrived in the battlefield, and Zero speaks. And I knew he would come. In the next scene, Suzaku is killing all the Black Knights in the battlefield. Whoever gets in his way gets everyone, and we are shown in a flashback where we to Suzaku says that Zero has the power of Gias, and because of that UP did such a thing, and he also used it on you so that you also did not respect Britain. On Sikkim Island, and we see Leta, who has all her memories come back, and she thinks that Lelouch used Gias on her twice. First when he took his nightmare, and the second when he took his erased all memories and fell in love with OG. And in the next scene we see where Kalen takes his nightmare and comes to Suzaku, and they both fight with each other, and this fight is very dangerous. Kalen disrupts one of Suzaku's hands, but Suzaku was no less. He cuts off one of his nightmare's hands and is about to kill Kalen. Then Zerovo comes into his Going Nightmare and challenges Suzaku to fight, and we see Ogi, who is making a plan. That then a guy of the Black Knight comes and tells him that someone was trying to get inside and was caught. Seeing him, he tells him to leave it. This works for me and takes him to another room. And Zero comes out of the school and says to Suzaku, "You surrender, otherwise I will blow up all the members of the student council." And everyone in the student council is wondering what they are doing outside, and Suzaku gets mad with anger and goes ahead to kill Zero. That only then the assistant activates the caffeine disruptor, and once again Suzaku gets caught in it and his name stops working, and Zero goes from there, and Sujav is shouting at him from behind, and Zero blows up all the British soldiers with the hydrogen cannon. After that, he arrives at Cornelia's garden, which is designed like his mom's house. "You take the name of that place and speak to Zero." "How do I know this?" "I will tell you later." Only then Cornelia there and goes to fight Zero and will be in the next scene. He is in a separate room with Valletta, where he apologizes to her for not telling her that he is a member of the Black Knight and tells her that if Zero wins this fight, we can live together. But then Valletta pulls out her gun and points it at her and tells her that all her memories are back, and she says, "I can never be with an 11," and shoots him and runs away. But Ogi's life is saved. But a Black Knight member whose name is Sugiyama says not to tell anyone about it and speaks to find Valletta, and to find the two Black Knight members go to the storage room of the school to find Valletta, but they see Galamate Nightmare there. As Nina is driving and speaking Princess Yuvi, "I will avenge your death." Now in the next scene, she is fighting Cornelia and is also falling heavily on her because she is absolutely crazy. To kill Zero, Cornelia climbs on top of Zero's nightmare and is about to kill him. Then a spike tears his nightmare chest. And this work was done by Dalton, and we find out that Zero had also used gas on Dalton and had ordered him to rescue him whenever he was in trouble. Then Dalton gets up and he sees what he did, but then Zero attacks him with his hydro cannon and roasts him there, and Cornell or Below falls to the ground, and in the next scene, Nunnally is alone in the room. Only then does Vito come there and tell the Drains, "Who are you?" He says, "I have come here to take you with me," and we see Cornelia again, who was lying on the ground and very injured, but then Lelouch comes to him and reveals his identity to him. Then Cornelia speaks, "Didn't you do all this for the Drain?" He says yes. And he tells him his plan, that he wants to change this world and create a new world. He then uses his gas on Lelouch and asks him, "Tell me who killed my mother?" But Cornelia says that I don't know. Zero says, "So you don't know either, but you had investigated what happened that day." Then CHU tells Lelouch to come in quickly or get kidnapped. And he's on Kamini Island right now. Then Jeremy comes on a sip from behind. Zero then sits in Goyle Nightmare to kill Zero. Zero tells Kalen to take Cornelia with him, but Jeremy attacks him and Zero tells him not to come in the middle, and Jeremy is going crazy to kill Zero, but then the Black Knight guy tells Zero on the phone that Ogi is injured. She has been shot by a girl named Valletta, and she has run away from here, so he tells Lelouch that you now focus on saving Ogi, let her go, and we will see. Some members of Black Knight attack Jeremy, but Jeremy escapes all of them, and we see Suzaku, who was still trapped because of Gaffinistable, and then suddenly Cesare Black Knight members see that Avalon ship comes in the sky, and Professor sees Rasta there and says, "So you are here too," and from then on she comes with her nightmare and attacks all Goth in December and destroys them, due to which the lance is activated, and Sujab launches it again, and we see Zero, which did the work, going towards. Then Todo calls him and asks him for an order, but Zero says, "Don't call me now, I have some important work to do," and he cuts the call, and Todo gets angry about what's more important than this work, and we find out that Britannia is getting heavy on the Black Knight. The Black Knights are losing badly. Then we see in the next scene where the suggestion comes to Cornelia, and Cornelia tells her that the hero is going to Kamine Island and tells her, "You go after him. You don't become a Knight of UC. Take her revenge," and she makes her the honor of Britain, and we see the Black Knight's condition deteriorates very badly. They are losing this battle without Zero, and then Nina is also her Nightmare comes along and says, "Where is Zero?" But we see Lelouch reaches Kamini Island and says, "Nunnally, I will save you." And then we are shown to V2, with which there is no Nunnally. And now Lelouch also comes to Kamini Island because it comes to the same cave where there is the thought Advaita. Only then says to C2, "We are partners. One of our goals." And then a lightning comes out of that cave which falls directly on C2 and Lelouch, so that Lelouch starts to see the past of C2, where she is walking and she is avoiding them, and her past is very painful. And that's when C2 says to her, "I have nothing, my everything is gone, I am alone, you are not alone, we are together." And then he regains consciousness, but then suddenly Jeremy comes there and attacks him because he was crazy to kill Zero. Then Zero also starts fighting him, but Situ tells him that Nightmare's energy is getting low. Then she says to Lelouch, "I don't feel well," and says, "Lelouch, you have to win," and he's with her. She kisses him. After that, she leaves him near the cave and asks him to save Nunnally, and from there she goes to fight Zehermi alone, and we see Black Knight lost badly. So the condition is also very bad, but he is still fighting. And then we see Luz, who comes to the elevator in that cave and is thinking, "I have to find Nunnally," and he goes to that gate. Then someone shoots on that gate from behind, and when he looks back there, Suzaku comes and says to Zero, "Slowly look towards me," and looks from Lelouch and becomes shocked. Then Zero looks back and tells Suzaku that you used UP and killed all the innocent Japanese. Gave, you do all this, and he goes to Zero. Then Suzaku says, "Callan, you don't want to know Zero's identity," and we see Callan has also come after Suzaku. Then Suzaku shoots Zero's mask, which breaks his mask, and Lelouch's face comes out of it, and Suzaku is sad to see this, which he will be able to fight. Until now, he was coming, no one else. The fault of his childhood is Lelouch. He tells Suzaku that he can't believe it, and seeing this, Callan also gets shocked and says, "How can this happen?" Then Lelouch says, "Yes, absolutely. I am Zero. I'm going to change this world. Japan will be free." Suzaku says, "I should have known earlier, but I used to trust you. Nunnally also trusted you." Then Lelouch tells her that Nunnally has been kidnapped. "Suzaku, can't you stop? We have to save Nani." Then he tells Suzaku how naive you are. You should have cooperated with UP. If you had not done so, Lelouch says, "That is the past. Did you not kill your father? As much as you want later, you can regret." Only then says to Suzaku, "You will continue to deceive this world till the last breath. As this world has given you, I will not let your wish be fulfilled." Lelouch tells him, "The world doesn't just run by words, and if you want to kill me, then kill me." And Lelouch puts a bomb on himself so that if his heart stops, it will explode. Then he tells Suzaku that Mattia, you are useless now. Whatever happens has no meaning to you. It is neither yours nor a mistake. You have no connection with this world. You cannot be Nunnally's brother." And hearing this, Lelouch gets angry, and only then they point guns at each other and swell together. And with this, season 1 of Coach Jayas ends, and its season 2 is going to be very dangerous. So click on this video and like and subscribe and type season 2 in the comments, because this will make season 2 very soon. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye until I see you in season 2.